Hi everyone. So we're going to start sewing our jackets now that our patterns are complete. So the first thing we want to do is start with the shell of your jacket, the wool, okay? Mark all the important points on it. So your dart tips, if you have a point um, in your lapel like this one was, mark that. Also your point E, okay? Remember again, that is where your lapel and your collar separate. All right, so that's your point E. Make sure that's marked. You can mark it however you'd like with a tailor tack or a pencil. Do not use marker or pen. Here I'm just sticking pins through my pattern and I'm using my red colored pencil to mark it. Um, no one's going to be able to see this. The red pencil is not going to bleed through my fabric. I'm marking it on the wrong side of the fabric, okay? So no one will ever see that. Be aware of it. And just if you have light fabric, then maybe you're going to want to do a tailor tack or chalk or something that will come off easier. Um, so this jacket here that I'm creating with you guys, it has a dart in the front. Some of you have princess seams, um, and that's totally fine. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is sew the outer shell of our jacket. Okay, and here again, I'm just lining up my seam and I'm going to sew it. Something important to remember here when stitching, you guys all know how crazy I am about stay stitching, um, especially armholes and necklines, um, because we do not want those things to stretch out. Okay. On this, we are not going to stay stitch first. All right. So be very carefully when handling your wool and your hair canvas because we're not stay stitching it first. All right. So when you're using it, don't handle it roughly. Don't, throw it around or anything. Don't pick it up by the neckline or the armhole. Just pick it up gently, bring it to your machine, sew on it, lay it back down. Um, when you're holding it up, try to hold it by more of the body and support it well. And just be careful because we don't want those areas to stretch out. Okay. So again, we're not stay stitching our armholes or our necklines first, like we typically do on this. And just remember to be careful with it. So again, here I'm just stitching the front of my jacket body, okay? And I'm stitching a dart here. If you're stitching a dart and not seams, remember you start from the dart opening and sew down towards the tip of your dart. Never start at the tip of your dart and then sew down towards the dart opening. Okay? This here at the front of my jacket is basically their seams that turn into a dart. All right? So another thing, when you get to the tip of your dart, do not back tack. When you're about a quarter inch away from the tip of your dart, okay, what you want to do is turn your stitch length down to like 1 and just stitch right off through the point of that dart. Okay, that will keep you from getting a little dimple or puckering in the front where the tip of your dart is. Okay, I know we're skipping around a lot here, but you all know how to stitch seams and things. Now, if you have a dart, notice I'm going to cut my dart open as far as I can towards the point. Okay, that way I can press it flat and reduce more bulk. Once I've clipped it as close into the point I can, I'm clipping down towards my stitching, okay? And that's right where I couldn't clip down any further. That way I can press that seam open perfectly. And obviously, if you don't have a dart, you can just press your seam open. Now, I'm using a sleeve board to press my dart. I like to get the tip of the dart tip right on the edge of the sleeve board, okay? I find that presses it very well. And I'm pressing the tip of the dart that I clipped um, towards center front, and then I'm going to press the rest of the dart seam allowance open. Okay? And I'm not pressing, I'm just using the tip of my iron, and I'm just trying to press the seam allowance. I'm not trying to hit any other part of that fabric. Okay, so just keep pressing just on the seam allowance. And use the very tip, the point of your iron, to do it. Give it a little steam if you need to. Um, Make sure you test your wool as well, and make sure that, see how much it shrinks if you press it. Okay, because if it shrinks a lot, then you're going to want to give your wool a quick press before. Anyways, also using the ham is a great way to kind of isolate the seam that you want to press, because the rest of the fabric kind of just falls away from it. Also, pressing on the ham typically gives seams a very nice press. So just press open your whole seam using your iron. And this is basically, all we need to do to prep the front of our jacket, the shell, the wool part of our jacket. Okay, so again, mark dart tips, the point where the point where your collar and lapel separate. Very, very important to mark that. Okay, and then be careful, because we're not stay stitching necklines or anything like that. So be very careful handling your fabric. Okay, so that's about it for prepping your garment, your shell, rather your outer shell of the front of the jacket. The next demo you'll need to watch is on prepping the hair canvas.